Hey everybody, what's going on? Icy Cat here. Today we get our first teaser image for the next season. It's just an individual picture, but we'll go over all the information of what we know with the next operators and map and the upcoming content next. This image was released today on Ubisoft's various social media platforms. It's captioned, "One familiar place, two new faces," and it shows this image. So we can see here that we have some wet asphalt with this like logo or coin or something that says Hereford Royal Air Force. We know that that is the next map that will be coming for Season 3. Instead of getting a brand new map, we are actually getting what's called a map rework. A map rework is different than a map buff. A map buff is what we got last season when Clubhouse got some changes that came to it. We took a look at sort of the new changes that were made to that map, how some of the sites wound up having a different layout. The two top rooms on the roof were connected. Some various changes were made to some other sites, but overall the map was still kind of like the same classic feel, just with some additions and changes. This, however, is a complete rework. Like, the layout of the entire map is going to be changing. It's going to go from what we knew before to this image. This is some concept image that we got a few months back, and this shows sort of where they're going to be going with it. It may or may not look exactly like this in the final composition, but you can see here that we have some very heavy retro feel going on, almost like a World War II vintage kind of a vibe. In fact, some people have kind of compared this to being like an elite vintage uniform, but for a map instead. However, this goes one step further because you can tell by the layout of the building here that the actual blueprints for this level are going to be altered significantly. Hereford Base is going to feel like a brand new map. So even though we're not getting technically a new location for this season's map, this is pretty much going to feel completely different than the Hereford Base that used to exist before this. Now, the other part of that message referenced having a couple of new faces, and we know that the plans for this season are going to be a split CTU, kind of like how back in Operation Chimera, we had an operator for Finka, which came from the Spetsnaz CTU, and then Lion, which came from the GIGN CTU, together formed their own new CBRN or CBRN unit, and even though they were composed of different countries, they came together for the two new operators for that season. We're going to be seeing the same thing happening here. So we're going to have two new operators. However, one is going to be from the UK and the other one is going to be from the United States. The UK operator will be associated with Scotland Yard, and the US operator will be associated with Delta Force. So Scotland Yard and Delta Force will be our two new operators for this next season to go along with the new Hereford Base rework. It's unknown yet what their names are or what they'll be able to do. However, some interesting things have kind of come to light over the last couple of months that may lead us in some probable conclusions for what that could be. What we know so far is that an interview done a couple of months back, and I did mention this in a video at the time, referenced the Rainbow Six brand manager, Alexander Remy, talking about how in the future they were looking at making a new way for an operator to do hard breaches. So this is something that they were currently working on as of a few months ago. Whether or not that applies to this season or next season or somewhere in the future, we don't know for sure, but it could be something we're seeing coming for this next season because we know it was a concept they were working on. Some type of an operator that deals with hard breaching interactions. Through some data mining, we've also found some other information. There seems to be some kind of a reference to a new operator ability that has something to do with using a blowtorch. It's uncertain whether this is an attacking mechanism or a defending mechanism, but somehow a blowtorch might be able to be used to interact with reinforced wall surfaces. On defense, this might be something that can be used kind of like Mira, but instead you're actually just making murder holes within the surface of a metal wall, perhaps. Or if it's on attacking, maybe it's just an alternate way to get through that surface. No details are really known as to what the specifics of this are. It was just a reference that was found in files that had been data mined from the main structure of the game on PC. Similarly, there is also something referencing hole plugging. We don't know what that is, but that could perhaps be some kind of an operator whose gadget would allow you to plug up holes once they were made. Nobody's really sure exactly what this would be or how it would work. Some theories say that that could be something like a very, very quickly hardening foam that you could put over a hole. So you would essentially sort of like fill the hole with like an impact resistant foam. It would harden within a couple of seconds maybe, and then it would sort of plug that hole back up once it was breached. That's purely speculation at this point, though we don't know a lot about it. The only real facts that we know are that the brand manager did say that they were working on operators that interacted with hard breaching, in other words, reinforced surface breaching, and that files have been found which reference using a blowtorch and some kind of way of doing hole plugging, but we don't know anything for sure beyond that. Now, the reveal for this content is most likely going to happen during the Paris Major, and that is an event that will be set up from August 17th through the 19th. At that time, there will probably be a reveal for the new operators, more detail of what it is that they can do, information on the map, as well as any other anticipated changes at that point. Between now and then, we can look forward to seeing further teaser images, animations, trailers, and more, so over the next few weeks, definitely keep an eye out for that. I will be bringing you that information as it becomes available. As far as when the new season will launch, that's always a little bit of a guessing game. We know it won't be before August 19th, the date of the Paris Major, and typically it's about a week or two after that, because then the new content goes over to the test server for a week or two, and then after that it will finally go live. So we're looking at something like the last week or two of August, maybe the first couple of days of September, somewhere in that time frame. We'll know more as we get closer. Now, if you haven't already, please do like and subscribe, and make sure you click that notification icon so you're alerted as soon as I make new information available. You can also follow me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.